Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning, Judge.
How's everybody doing?
Hi,
Good.
Good morning, Mayor.
Hey, morning, folks.
morning.
Jessica, you're muted, but we saw your lips move.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we've let's see. Well, we're missed. Oh, Michelle's on there. Hi, Michelle. Do we know if superintendent's joining us, Scott, or?
We haven't received any proxies.
I know he remembers it because I mentioned it to him at the party last night. We'll give him a minute. There he is.
We'll
There.
give you just a minute.
Hey, Mayor Prather, Michelle just walked down to my office and she wanted to tell you that she has no microphone on her desktop. So that she wasn't being rude.
That's hilarious. I appreciate her doing that. Morning, Billy.
Good morning, everybody.
All
Morning,
right.
Good
Superintendent.
morning.
We look like
Parker.
we're all present and accounted for, and the hour is upon us. So why don't we go ahead and call our meeting to order? It looks like we have all three commissioners present. And we have minutes from our last meeting of 10:26.
I've reviewed those and would like to make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Scott, I'll let you go right ahead with P&A abatement request.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have two this month. One is an approval, one is a denial. The first one, the taxpayers requested an abatement of $75 in net profit late filing penalties for tax year 2021. This particular taxpayer states that due to knee replacement surgery, she was unable to work and the person covering for her in her absence failed to submit the timely request. Our staff determination is to approve this abatement request in full as the taxpayer has established reasonable cause due to accident or serious illness per our policy. As you can see there, it's $75. Actually, that is incorrect. Sorry about that. 25 each per jurisdiction for net profit year 2021. The second one here is a denial. This taxpayer's requested abatement of $225 in payroll withholding late filing penalties for 3 quarters in tax year 2022 that were filed late, and that would be $75 each per jurisdiction, as you can see there. They state that their tax software QuickBooks was to blame for the error. Our penalty and interest policy clearly states that reliance on internal or external agents of any kind are insufficient to establish reasonable cause for penalty and or interest abatement. It's our recommendation to deny this request. I do have some firsthand knowledge of this as we use QuickBooks for our financials, and like all software, I can testify to the fact that it only does what you tell it to do.
I think in computer language, isn't that garbage in, garbage out?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, it is.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion for approval of staff's recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Billy.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And some refunds.
We do have 2 refunds here, over $10,000. First one here is a net profit refund request for tax year 2021. It's $12,958.51. You can see the city, county, and school board portions of the refund. This is due to the taxpayer overestimating their required net profit tax deposit that was remitted with an extension request. After audit review, we recommend that the commissioners approve this refund.
Make a motion to approve as recommended.
I'll second that.
And we're all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Scott.
Okay, and the second one is also a net profit request, also for tax year 2021, also $12,000, but a different dollar and cents here. It's $12,753.41. In this case, it was also an overestimation of their net profit deposits, but also during the audit process, we also discovered erroneous payroll reporting on the net profit return, which also contributed to the error. So after a review of this, our staff recommends approving this refund as well.
Okay. Is there a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion to approve as presented.
I'll second that.
And the board votes unanimously. Andrew, is that adequate? It seems awkward calling for the ayes with three of us on the call. Is me simply acquiescing to the motion in the second adequate, or do I have to call for a vote?
You just call it. I call it.
You call it? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Oh,
I'll do it if I'm instructed to, but it does feel awkward.
sillier it sounds, probably the more legal it is.
I hear you. Thank you for that advice.
Well,
Okay.
that's an interesting take on it, Andrew. There is one, I don't have a third refund, but there will be one in the next couple of months. And I wanted to give you a heads up because I believe it may be the largest refund we've ever had in Revenue Commission history. It's a net profit refund of $347,000. So, and it looks like to me, based on what I've seen and from talking to to Tammy about it, looks like they just added a zero. The deposit should have been of estimated tax $34,700 instead of $347,000. So that's going to be a big hit. I'll be watching the net profit receipts over the next month or two to make sure we've got enough to cover it. But I know Michelle's on the call, but I'll let Gina and Stacy know when we get closer because that's a pretty large refund.
Scott, that may be one of the most remarkable things I've heard in a long time, that somebody could miss a digit and make a $300,000 error and they wrote the check.
They sure did.
I'd like to see their cash flow.
Well, if I told you the name of the company, you'd recognize it. So it's a large multinational U.S. corporation that's been around for a long time. So apparently nobody was proofreading their work.
That gobsmacks me. I mean, I've heard of engineering errors lately. I've heard of financial service interest calculation errors. And it's just mind-boggling, some of the errors that we have occur around us every day.
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable. When I was at Louisville Metro, we did have one refund over $700,000. So
Well,
again, another large company whose name you would know that probably just didn't even realize.
yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that heads up.
We ready to move on to item number 6 here?
Please.
I received the draft audit documents last week. This is very late for us, especially considering they were on site in August. But they've had a number of staffing issues and a lot of flu going through their office. So this was significantly delayed. So I'll be presenting the final documents next month, but I did want to go ahead and tell you it was a clean audit, no findings. So that's always good news. But we'll actually go over the actual numbers next month once I've had time to digest them and meet with the audit manager.
Good. Any questions about item 6? then the ever popular general discussion.
And away we go. So the KEDFA BSSC reports does report 2 new projects in November. We don't have anything on the KEDFA side. These are typically the projects like KBIs and KJRs that have a wage credit that would impact our collections. Nothing new there since September. But if you go down to the BSSC, Bluegrass State Skills Corporation projects, we do have a couple of more training grants in aid, which are $75,000 each. These were just approved November 2nd. This in no way impacts anything we do, just giving you a heads up of what's going on with some of the economic development. And these 2 groups got the very same grants back in February of this year. So this is a common thing. I've looked into these consortiums. They do training, I think, at BCTC for some Toyota folks, and they're pretty common throughout the state. But that's all I'm really seeing on that this month.
Glad to see some local institutions getting in on that.
Yes, absolutely. So let's see here. Okay, we have our report here on our financial tax incentive here for September. Nothing new here. It's static. It's the same every month. So that's the latest we have there. Usually no questions on that. Anybody have any questions on that this month? Hearing none. I'm sorry. Somebody have a comment on? Okay. This is doesn't require any action because this is a part of our normal course of business. It's time to put our external audit services out for bid. Actually, we probably should have done this last year or maybe even 2021, but it slipped by me. When we put it out last time, the only bidder we had was the people that do our audit, and that's likely to happen again. I think Andrew said that happened when the city put theirs out as well. So we'll see what happens, but we will get an RFP out in 2023 to put that. That's kind of a best practice we adopted a while ago. Every 3 or 4 years, we try to go ahead and put that out for bid. A new item here, MS ISAC. We are now a member of this organization. It's the Multi-State Information Sharing and Analysis Center. It's the CISA, who we've already signed up with. We talked about that at prior meetings for some testing of our cybersecurity infrastructure. This is an organization that they work with. I was on the first call yesterday. It was pretty impressive, the amount of information and how it's coming through. It's free to us because we're a state, local, tribal, or territorial government. So there's no cost for this. It's just another tool as we try to move towards cybersecurity maturity and taking advantage of all the tools that we have to try to stay safe in an environment where the threat landscape is pretty frightening.
Yeah, and I know the commissioners take confidence in your continuing to make sure we're safe in this way.
Thank you, Mayor. So on to the tax collections. We've got 2 months since we didn't meet last month. October was off the charts. We were up $2.9 million. Don't get excited about that because the bottom's going to drop out in November again due to the erratic filing nature of this payroll provider for our largest employer. But you can see the city was up 159%, the county was up 158%, and the school was up 92% for October. But then you go to November and it comes down. Not down as much, but it does come down again due to this payroll provider we're struggling to deal with here. So down 34 for the city, 30 for the county, and 30 for the school. You know, if this is going to continue, I don't know that these monthly reports are going to be of any value because, you know, the quarterly collection stats are what really tell the story. So you can see here almost 3 million in October, down $1.5 million, but then we're still up 1.4 million for this quarter. And you can see there the as of the second quarter, where the city's up almost $500,000, the county's up over $750,000, and the school board's up 116,000, and that's just the second quarter. We were also way up last quarter as well. So as it stands right now, through the end of November, we're currently sitting with collections that are $2.4 million over last year. And last year was the highest collections we had on record. The city's currently sitting at $840,000. County 1.3 and the school board 258,000. So that gives you a clearer picture of what our collections look like so far, with 1 month left to go in the first half of this fiscal year.
It's really strong.
Yeah.
Appreciate that data.
Yeah. Judge, when we met a week or so ago with some folks from Elizabethtown, one of the good pieces of advice that Andrew gave them, he asked them how many folks they had working in their revenue commission. And they said 2. And he said, our strongest advice to you is to get more staff in your revenue commission because you're letting money go away. And it really hit home when we've got it going right, and we look at somebody that I don't envy their task, Scott.
No, and I know a lot of those folks, and I'm also, Jessica and I have both been working with the young lady in Hardin County, where they're building 2 Ford electronic vehicle battery plants, which will ultimately employ 5,000 people. So basically half a Toyota. And there's one lady trying to wrangle all those contractors and everything that's going on. I've got family in Nashville, so I'm down there every once in a while, and it is quite something to see what's going on out there. But I appreciate you flying that flag, because I try to do the same at KLC, especially when we're trying to do revenue diversification, which is a good thing and we need to do. And that's I was talking with Temple Jewett. You probably saw me talking to him about that last night on the county side. So, the great thing about bolstering your tax administration, as we see here, is that you don't have to go to Frankfurt and ask them for anything. You don't have to go to your city council or your fiscal court and ask them to raise your rates. You just go ahead and enforce what you're already authorized to collect.
And making it fair for everybody while you get more money.
Yes. Voluntary compliance.
Yes. I'd like to make a comment and echo what Judge Lusby said last night at Mayor Prather's celebration. Mayor Prather, appreciate your leadership in helping, just push the Revenue Commission and the leadership you provided to kind of right the ship, and really appreciate all you've done to help to lead this endeavor, and then putting the right people in the right places. I think definitely with Scott and Jessica and their team, what they're doing is so critical, and just wanted to echo what Judge Lusby shared last night, that we're blessed to have the team that we have there in place, and Mayor Prather was very critical in getting that in the right direction. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it very much.
Yes. Thank you for those kind words, Judge. And I told you last night, Mayor, that, and I can't believe I'm saying these words are coming out of my mouth, but this is your last commission meeting. I told you last night, Mayor, that the success we're enjoying would not have happened without the support that we've enjoyed in the past 6 years with the commissioners, past and present. So, as always, greatly appreciated on our end as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So, more good news here on the new accounts front. We are already, as of the end of November, we have already beat last year. We're at 1,127 new businesses registered with the Revenue Commission. At this time last year, we were at 1,009, and we ended in December at 1,063. So we've already beat that with December yet to go. So, and I did, because we didn't meet last month, I put the October and November months, the opened and closed. We had another boost in some closed. We had some more administratively inactive accounts. Again, this is just account cleanup, which, working with this new database administrator is kind of giving us the opportunity. I think you'd agree, Jessica, to do a little bit of a deeper dive into some of these accounts and do some cleanup work that should have been done probably a long time ago. So.
Yeah, we'll get a more, I think the numbers will be more reflective of the actual closed accounts once we can separate the administratively and active. But I also did my quarterly review. So anytime we do that, there's a large close because I get resolutions on some of the legal accounts. So that's reflective in those numbers as well, which is good because those were payments and accounts that needed to be closed. So those were the factors that led to a lot of closed in October and November.
But again, it's still remarkable. Now we're over 1,100 new businesses. And I think when I started here, it was in the mid 700s, something like that every month. And now it's already up to 1,100. And that's, of course, a lot of it, the compliance efforts that we have in place and some of the projects we're working, they are effective.
It's very attractive numbers. It's good to see.
All right. Well, I believe if nobody has any other issues or questions, then that brings us to the next meeting, which will be our normal fourth Wednesday, the 25th at 10 a.m., 25th of January, 2023.
2023. You all will also have to consider at your first meeting the heavy duty task of chairing this meeting. It's got to fall to one of you. You all can be thinking about that as well. Scott, it's been my privilege and a joy to work with it, and glad everything's exactly where it is. Y'all going to do great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Anything else to come forward today? If not, is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion. Okay, I'll second it. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody say aye.
Aye.